Hi, this is Mrs. Olson. We're going to read the next section of the Odyssey by Homer. The section is entitled The Cyclops, and it's divided into 3 parts. This is the first section. In the next land we found were Cyclops, giants louts without a law to bless them. In ignorance, leaving the fruitage of the earth in mystery to the immortal gods, they neither plow nor sow by hand, nor till the ground, though grain, wild wheat, and barley grows untended, and wine grapes in clusters ripen in heaven's rains. Cyclops have no muster and no meeting, no consultation or old tribal ways, but each one dwells in his own mountain cave, dealing out rough justice to wife and child, indifferent to what the others do. As we rode on and nearer to the mainland, at one end of the bay we saw a cavern yawning above the water, screened with laurel, and many rams and goats about the place. Inside a sheepfold made from slabs of stone earth-fast between tall trunks of pine and rugged towering oaks. A prodigious man slept in this cave alone, and took his flocks to graze afield, remote from all companions, knowing none but savage ways, a brute, so huge he seemed no man at all, of those who eat good wheaten bread, but he seemed rather a shaggy mountain, reared in solitude. We beached there, and I told the crew to stand by and keep watch over the ship. As for myself, I took my 12 best fighters and went ahead. I had a goat skin full of that sweet liqueur that Euanthes' son, Marin, had given me. He kept Apollo's holy grove at Ismarus. For kindness we showed him there, and showed his wife and child. He gave me 7 shining golden talents, perfectly formed, a solid silver wine bowl, and then this liqueur, 12 two-handled jars of brandy, pure and fiery. Not a slave in Marin's household knew this drink. Only he, his wife, and the storeroom mistress knew. And they would put 1 cupful, ruby-colored, honey-smooth, and 20 more of water, but still the sweet scent hovered like a fume over the wine bowl. No man turned away when cups of this came around. A wine-skinful I brought along, and victuals in a bag, for in my bones I knew some towering brute would be upon us soon, all outward power, a wild man, ignorant of civility. We climbed then briskly to the cave, but Cyclops had gone afield to pasture his fat sheep, so we looked round at everything inside, a drying rack that sagged with cheese, pens crowded with lambs and kids, each in its class, firstlings apart from middlings, and the dewdrops or newborn lambkins, pinned apart from both, and vessels full of whey were brimmed there, bowls of earthenware, and pails for milking. My men came pressing round me, pleading. Why not take these cheese, get them stowed, come back, throw open all the pens, and make a run for it? We'll drive the kids and lambs aboard. We say put out again on good salt water. Ah, how sound that was! Yet I refused. I wished to see the caveman, what he had to offer. No pretty sight it turned out for my friends. We lit a fire, burnt an offering, and took some cheese to eat, then sat in silence around the embers waiting. When he came, he had a load of dry boughs on his shoulder to stoke his fire at supper time. He dumped it with a great crash into the hollow cave, and we all scattered fast to the far wall. Then over the broad cavern floor he ushered the ewes he meant to milk. He left his rams and he-goats in the yard outside, and swung high overhead a slab of solid rock to close the cave. 24 four-wheeled wagons with heaving wagon teams could not have stirred the tonnage of that rock from where he wedged it over the door-sill. Next he took his seat and milked his bleating ewes. A practiced job he made of it, giving each ewe her suckling. Thickened his milk then into curds and whey, sieved out the curds to dry in withy baskets, and poured the whey to stand in bowls, cooling until he drank it for his supper. When all these chores were done, he poked the fire, heaping on brushwood. In the glare he saw us. "Strangers," he said. "Who are you, and where from? What brings you here by seaways, a fair traffic? Or are you wandering rogues who cast your lives like dye and ravage other folk by sea?" We felt a pressure on our hearts, in dread of that deep rumble and that mighty man, but all the same I spoke up in reply. "We are from Troy, Achaeans, blown off course by shifting gales on the great South Sea, homeward bound, but taking routes and ways uncommon, so the will of Zeus would have it. We served under Agamemnon, son of Atreus. The whole world knows what city he laid waste, what armies he destroyed. It was our luck to come here. Here we stand, beholden for your help, or any gifts you give, as custom is to honor strangers. We would entreat you, great sir, have a care for the gods' courtesy. Zeus will avenge the unoffending guest." He answered this from his brute chest, unmoved. You are a ninny, or else you come from the other end of nowhere, telling me mind the gods. We Cyclops care not a whistle for your thundering Zeus, or all the gods in bliss. We have more force by far. I would not let you go for fear of Zeus, you or your friends, unless I had a whim to. Tell me, where was it now you left your ship? Around the point, or down the shore? I wonder. He thought he'd find out, but I saw through this and answered with a ready lie. My ship? Poseidon, Lord who sets the earth a-tremble, broke it up on the rocks at your land's end. A wind from seaward served him, drove us there. We are survivors, these good men, and I.